Zoom connection.
We're on.
Oh, we're on. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning, family.
Good morning. Well, this is another big lesson.
Really big lesson.
Ah, lesson 153. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Well, isn't that the opposite to the way that we've been raised and educated in this world, right? Because the ego says that my safety lies in my defenses.
That's right.
And Jesus is saying, no, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. That's where we will be safe. So I'll read it here. You who feel threatened by this changing world, its twists of fortune and its bitter jests, its brief relationships, and all the gifts it merely lends to take away again, attend this lesson well. The world provides no safety. It is rooted in attack, and all its gifts of seeming safety are illusory deceptions. It attacks and then attacks again. No peace of mind is possible where danger threatens thus. The world gives rise but to defensiveness. Well, I just want to stop here. Defensiveness or defenses, according to the Course, are attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when we use the word defense, it means attack as well. Yeah. For threat brings anger. Anger makes attack seem reasonable, honestly provoked, and righteous in the name of self-defense, which is really self-attack. Yeah. Yet is defensiveness a double threat, for it attests to weakness and sets up a system of defense that cannot work. Now are the weak still further undermined, for there is treachery without, and still a greater treachery within. The mind is now confused and knows not where to turn to find escape from its imaginings. There's the ego, right? It is as if a circle held it fast, wherein another circle bound it, and another one in that, until escape no longer can be hoped for nor obtained. Attack, defense, defense, attack become the circles of the hours and the days that bind the mind in heavy bands of steel with iron overlaid. Wow, that's extreme. Returning but to start again. There seems to be no break nor ending in the ever tightening grip of the imprisonment upon the mind.
Can we stop
So
there?
you can see that concentric circles of
Yes.
steel and then iron, and then you see it's an iron-clad closed circuit system.
Yes.
Defense breeds attack. Attack breeds defense, and it just keeps on going. And it's been going for more than 13 billion years in the illusion of time, apparently. Yeah.
So can we give a maybe an example? I was thinking about this earlier when I looked at it, but the first thought that I am mythical me, I am now weak and vulnerable, alone, without God, without union. Fear and guilt are running the show, right? So then this first attack of this lie about I am me apart, right? Then that guilt is projected out into whatever, countless ways that the ego would label it's self attack. So are we projecting the guilt in our mind out into the world and it's coming back to us as sickness, lack, conflict, whatever the problem is that you might be facing, that's the guilt in your mind being projected out. So say it's sickness, right? Or say it's the pandemic. So then there's something out there that I need to defend myself from because I'm weak and there's something real out there. And now I am trying to defend myself against a real threat out there. And at what level am I defending myself? At the same level at which I'm going back into a dream and I'm using illusory phenomena to defend myself against this so-called real threat. And because it's all happening at the same level and it's magic, it doesn't work. And so then there's guilt when I fail to protect myself against this threat. I mean, it's like this game, it just keeps looping and looping and looping. But it all started with mythical me, projections, defense, attack, defense, attack, it over and over again. And there's never any solution. There's no way out of it until somebody says there must be a better way. I give up. This is insanity. And we learn to recognize, okay, this is mind and it's not out there, that it's all happening here and it's guilt, etc. Right? So that the concentric circles with mythical me in the center of it, and just no way out. Yeah.
You know, sis, that's very helpful. And I don't know if I've already shared this example because I have no memory. I know I've shared it, but I don't know if I shared it on the lessons. I could have shared it in our TTC classes. I could have shared it in our Holy Relationship Journey class. I'm not sure. But
sure
I guess what comes up when I read this lesson, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. I used that lesson to basically help myself come back from what felt like death. And you were there at the time, actually. It would have been about, I don't know when, 2014, I think, 2014. And my daughter was suffering from severe anorexia nervosa. So, and she would not go to a doctor, and was getting close to having to be hospitalized, right? You remember that. Yeah. And there was I was doing well until the point where finally we convinced her that she had to go see a doctor. And so she went. She didn't want me to go with her. And later that afternoon, after her appointment, her doctor called me.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Her doctor called me in tears and tried to, I mean, poor darling, she was in terror herself, but she was, from where she was at, she was trying to get me to meet her at that fear level, 100% fear. Yeah. And so, and I wasn't meeting her there because already I was using this lesson in my defenselessness, my safety lies. And I knew I had to stay vertical while she was losing it on the phone.
Right.
So the ego decided to turn up the heat to tell me that in her opinion, that my daughter was very close to death, and that her organs would fail because her BMI, I didn't even know what BMI was back then, body mass index, was at 12, which of course is close to death. Yeah. Just to let you know, this is the ego. And she was trying to tell me, and I know it sounds so bloody dramatic, but this is how the ego gets us. She told me that once the BMI reaches 15, that is automatic hospital admittance. Right? But see, the thing was, we were trying to get her to a rehab at the time, and the rehab wouldn't take anybody under 15. So she was already under 15 because of the risk factor of all major organ failure. All of this chaos, do something. You've got to defend. You've got to take her by force. You've got to, right? And in my defenselessness, my safety lies, I knew to join with Jesus and Holy Spirit and to invoke the miracle. I was not going to go in that blind fear. I was going to join her in the truth, join both the doctor and my daughter in the truth. And I am convinced that the miracle occurred because of that, refusing to go down that rabbit hole. And I know it's a long-winded story and it's an extreme example, but she got better.
Yeah.
She didn't get better from medical intervention. And I'm not saying medical intervention's bad. I'm just saying that in this case, I joined with Holy Spirit and Jesus, and I wanted the miracle.
Yeah.
And we got the miracle.
Right.
But it took such vigilance. You remember, you joined me.
I do. I'm thinking about those who are listening, still trying to figure it out in their mind. It's if she had gone down the rabbit hole and colluded with the doctors and agreed and had it hospitalized, she may have gotten better, but the cause would not have actually been healed. When we agree with somebody's problem, we're actually attacking because we're going into the story and we're adding another witness to the gap where nothing's going on. But what Sis wanted to do was to close this, right? To have this experience of seeing Ricky, seeing her daughter as living and moving and having her being in God. And this heals the cause, that there's no separation, that there's no guilt, that guilt can't be projected out into bodily attack. So actually, it was the most loving thing to do. While this doctor was using her best sense of what was right under the circumstances, she was full of fear and wanting to perpetuate this story about her daughter. So actually, taking that stand with Holy Spirit and joining and declaring that we all have our life here in God is the correction, is the light, and is the highest sense of loving response. It's where our sis could be at that point.
Yeah. And thank you, Sis. That's so helpful. And the fact that I joined with you in your right mind outside of the gap, closed the gap, and with Daniel at the time. So I had two huge miracle buddy bookends that were just closing the gap with me to bring in the miracle. And that is what really did it. That's what healed her. So the cause was healed with her, never to return again. Never, never.
And that's why the safety lies in the defenselessness, taking defenses and maneuvering in the gap, right? It perpetuates that the dream is real, that the gap is real, and what's going on in the gap is real. But this defenselessness of just going straight to God and starting again with, truth is true, nothing else is true, is actually healing the underlying cause. That he said, you've got one problem, one solution. So let's join in knowing that the separation has not occurred. That's true healing. That's
right. And the quantum effects of that, Sis, right, are beyond our imagination. I have no idea how many people were healed in that. It wasn't just for me, for you, for Ricky, for Daniel. It was for, I'm sure it was for thousands of others who were ready to receive that same miracle.
That's it. It has to be, because there's just one mind.
Yeah.
So when the mind becomes healed, anybody that's open and receptive receives the blessing also.
Thank you. So we get back to the reading. Bit of a detour there, but I just thought it might be helpful as an example.
It's good. People have to understand, what does it mean? And why is my defenselessness, which the ego says that you're open season, you're soft belly up, and you can be attacked by anything. Why is that really choosing your safety? Yeah, you just gave a beautiful example of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. Can you tell me which paragraph we're up to?
3.
Okay. All right. So I'm reading the
Oh, no, I'm
FIP
sorry.
version.
Sorry, you already read that part.
Yeah, it's 4, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Defenses are the costliest of all the prices which the ego would exact. Man,
Yeah.
do I know that to be true in my experience now. When I first started the course, I was like, oh, it didn't make any sense to me, this part. But now I know defenses are the costliest of all the prices which the ego would exact. In them, defenses, lies madness in a form so grim that hope of sanity seems but to be an idle dream beyond the possible. The sense of threat the world encourages is so much deeper and so far beyond the frenzy and intensity of which you can conceive that you have no idea of all the devastation it has wrought. Oh, that's a true statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are its slave. You know not what you do in fear of it. You do not understand how much you have been made to sacrifice, who feel its iron grip upon your heart. You do not realize what you have done to sabotage the holy peace of God by your defensiveness. For you behold the Son of God as but a victim to attack by fantasies, by dreams, and by illusions he has made, yet helpless in their presence, needful only of defense by still more fantasies and dreams by which illusions of his safety comfort him.
So there's the gap again, right? Mythical me having, the fears in the dream, illness, sick, lack, conflict. And what does he resort to? The positives in the dream, which is what? Therapy, medication, procedures,
Vacations.
vacations, more money, right? So all of it, he says, it doesn't, all your defenses and all the remedies that you come up with are the same thing, and they lock, stock, and bear and keep us chained in here.
In that closed circuit with the iron overlaid, right?
Yes.
That's it. That's the grave.
Yeah.
That's the casket, the coffin.
Yes.
Do you use that word coffin here in the US?
We do.
Oh, okay. No. But COFFIN.
Not coughing, but coffin. Yes.
Okay.
Sis. That was an attempt at humor. Yes.
Sorry. Lousy one at that.
No.
Okay.
Oh, no. I love it.
So we're up to defenselessness is strength. Is that where we're up to?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Defenselessness is strength. It testifies to recognition of the Christ in you. Okay, I just heard something. It testifies to your incorruptible innocence.
Yes.
Incorruptible innocence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you will recall the text maintains that choice is always made between Christ's strength and your own weakness, seen apart from him. Defenselessness can never be attacked because it recognizes strength so great, attack is folly, or a silly game a tired child might play when he seems too sleepy to remember what he wants.
So that's pointing to the positive separation. So if you're mythically me identified and you seem to have attack, then your defenses do save you within a dream temporarily, but not not in truth, and that the result of that is death. This is making that positive separation and identifying yourself as not a part, but one with and as the Christ, the Son of God, who's so far beyond, who's not even in the gap, whose innocence, incorruptible innocence and invulnerability are because he's one in God. So this is knowing I can't, what I am cannot be attacked. It's impossible that the Christ or God be attacked, right? So you can't claim this while you're still claiming yourself to be mythical me. But as you recognize the Christ in you, then you can.
Beautiful. Another thing that just came in then is that, in the gap, choosing between positive and negative in the gap, right? Going backwards and forwards, what I've noticed for myself in my experience is the accumulation of guilt, because there's not a decision to be free of the gap and to awaken from the idea of mythical me and the dream. There's just a devotion to making it a better ego dream.
Right.
Yeah. And so there's an accumulation of guilt in every defense I make.
Yes.
And the difference
is positive. Yeah, there's no different. Even the entire gap is guilt. If you think that you are as you are not, that brings guilt, because part of your mind knows that you are the Christ. Seeing yourself as a body brings guilt. Pursuing pleasures in the gap results in guilt. Defending yourself, doing anything independently from God results in guilt. So that's making a false attack and then trying to defend yourself apart from God, both the same thing. Both, the ego doesn't want you to recognize that the goal in all of that is that you're just accumulating guilt. It doesn't care if you're positives or negatives, just that you're identifying yourself as you are not. And that's the guilt that it needs to keep the gap going.
And to keep the gap going, and more specific, to keep the self-attack or self-sabotage going and hidden.
Yes. Right.
Because that we don't see the source of it and heal it once and for all.
That's right.
So, one big one is manipulating, in relationships, manipulating outcomes, etc. That's another one in the special relationships. Yeah.
So all special relating is guilt. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I'm on paragraph 7. Defensiveness. Did I read that? No.
Mm-hmm.
Defensiveness is weakening.
Weakness.
Sorry. Defensiveness is weakness.
Mm-hmm.
It proclaims that you have denied the Christ and come to fear his Father's anger. Sis, does God have anger?
No.
Okay, all right. What can save you now from your delusion of an angry God, whose fearful image you believe you see at work in all the evils of the world? Hey, does that include what are they called? Acts of God?
Oh gosh, yes. Yes.
You gotta laugh, right?
Natural disasters and acts of God, that angry God. You just never know when he's going to strike.
Oh, Lord. What but illusions could defend you now, when it is but illusions that you fight?
There you go.
Wow, how crazy. We will not play such childish games today, for our true purpose is to save the world, and we would not exchange for foolishness the endless joy our function offers us. We would not let our happiness slip by because a fragment of a senseless dream happened to cross our minds, and we mistook the figures in it for the Son of God, its tiny instant for eternity. We look past dreams today and recognize that we need no defense because we are created unassailable. That means invincible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without all thought or wish or dream in which attack has no meaning. Now we cannot fear, for we have left all fearful thoughts behind. And in defenselessness, we stand secure, serenely certain of our safety now, sure of salvation, sure we will fulfill our chosen purpose as our ministry extends its holy blessing through the world.
Whew,
Big, isn't it?
I love that. We just don't believe that it's possible, but when we truly do surrender and accept the truth about us and let God be God, you do find, again, Sis and I've talked about being in the flow, where obstacles are removed, what you need comes to you effortlessly. You don't have threats, or you're not seeing fearful images around you. This is the natural part of waking up to what you are, and in that knowledge of what I am, it's impossible that what I am can be attacked, because I and the Father are one. Illusions cannot threaten the truth.
There's such a deep peace in that
Oh.
instant we accept it.
Mm-hmm.
That is God's will in that moment. That is the peace of God.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that peace of God, when we accept that, that is when we're joined as the will of God.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for healing me.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Be still a moment. Ah, beautiful. I felt that. Be still a moment and in silence think how holy is your purpose, how secure you rest, untouchable within its light. God's ministers, that's you, have chosen that the truth be with them. Who is holier than they, than you? Who could be surer that his happiness is fully guaranteed? And who could be more mightily protected? So true. What defense could possibly be needed by the ones who are among the chosen ones of God by his election and their own as well? It is the function of God's ministers to help their brothers choose as they have done. God has elected all, but few have come to realize his will is but their own. I mean, what he's talking about here is the joy of fulfilling our most joyful purpose here, our mission, yeah, to be the light of the world, to actually be it. We have to accept it first before we can be it. Okay. And yeah, and I think the highest function is to help our brothers and sisters to recognize that they too are the light of the world.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this now. There's nothing more joyful than this purpose. Nothing in the dream. Yeah. Not winning $5 or $10 million, not terrific vacations, not good sex, none of it. It all pales in comparison with being able to join with you guys like this.
True.
Really.
Yeah.
It's just everything. Everything. Okay, I'll keep reading. And while you fail to teach what you have learned, salvation waits and darkness holds the world in grim imprisonment. Nor will you learn that light has come to you and your escape has been accomplished, for you will not see the light until you offer it to all your brothers. And they take it from your hands. So as they take it from your hands, so will you recognize it as your own.
That
You
is,
know that one, sis?
oh gosh, yeah. I'm really, and this understanding that going back, the power of decision is my own, right?
Yeah.
We think that we have a choice. And then we come to recognize that God's will and our will is really the same. We finally surrender the gap in mythical me and accept from the Father that, what he is what I am, and God's will and my will are one. But the beautiful thing in the way that wisdom and love works is that, this is our function to extend it. And I can receive truth from God, but I don't get to keep it until I extend it to you. So because you're you and you're here now, I get to give and extend what I've been revealed by the Holy Spirit, but I can't claim it until we share it. And that's the gratitude that Sis and I feel when we come here. We know the power and the healing and the quantum rippling effect of what's happening as this dynamic is going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Just immense gratitude welling up. Yeah. So beautiful to do this.
Yeah.
You know, guys, we love you very much with his love, which is our love. So beautiful. Thank you, Sis, for joining me to do this. I never would have done this on my own. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah. There's nothing more important than this. I know this is why I'm here, to come support these deeper teachings out of the Course. And thank you for bringing us those deeper teachings to really get all the layers out of everything that he's showing us, as he really wants us to get this. He needs us to be his voice and his arms and hands and his activity. Yep. No more separation.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Sis. He needs us to extend this.
That's it.
You know, that's why forgiveness is so powerful. Okay. Paragraph 12 in the FIP version. Salvation can be thought of as a game that happy children play. It was designed by one who loves his children and who would replace their fearful toys with joyful games, which teach them that the game of fear is gone. His game instructs in happiness because there is no loser. Yeah. Everyone who plays must win. And in his winning is the gain to everyone insured. That's it. Well said. I mean, Jesus is a way with words, right?
Doesn't he?
The game of fear is gladly laid aside when children come to see the benefits salvation brings.
That's it. That's when you'll decide to give up the gap, when you see the benefits, and you see the benefits through your brother.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. You who have played that you are lost to hope, abandoned by your father, left alone in terror in a fearful world, made mad by sin and guilt. Be happy now. That game
is over.
Over. It's over. It's kaput. Now a quiet time has come in which we put away the toys of guilt and lock our quaint and childish thoughts of sin forever from the pure and holy minds of heaven's children and the Son of God. That's you. Mm-hmm. We pause for a moment more to play our final happy game upon this earth. And then we go to take our rightful place where truth abides and games are meaningless. So is the story ended. Let this day bring the last chapter closer to the world, that everyone may learn the tale he reads of terrifying destiny, defeat of all his hopes, his pitiful defense against a vengeance he cannot escape, is but his own deluded fantasy. God's ministers, that's you, that's us together, God's ministers have come to waken him from the dark dreams this story has evoked in his confused, bewildered memory of this distorted tale. God's Son can smile at last on learning that it is not true. Today we practice in a form we will maintain for quite a while. We will begin each day by giving our attention to the daily thought as long as possible. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. 5 minutes now becomes the least we give to preparation for a day in which salvation is the only goal we have. 10 would be better, 10 minutes. 15 minutes, even better still. Yes. But I mean, I'm stopping here. Are we worth it?
Oh,
That's the question. Are we worth it? I say yes.
yes.
And as distraction ceases to arise to turn us from our purpose, we will find that half an hour is too short a time to spend with God. I second that.
Yeah.
Nor will we willingly give less at night in gratitude and joy. Each hour adds to our increasing peace as we remember to be faithful to the will we share with God. At times, perhaps a minute, even less, will be the most that we can offer as the hour strikes. Sometimes we will forget, but we won't beat ourselves up, right?
Oh,
At other times, the business of the world will close in on us, and we will be unable to withdraw a little while and turn our thoughts to God. Yet when we can, we will observe our trust as ministers of God in hourly remembrance of our mission and his love. And we will quietly sit by and wait on him and listen to his voice and learn what he would have us do the hour that is yet to come, while thanking him for all the gifts he gave us in the one gone by. In time, with practice, you will never cease to think of him. I was going to say to thank him. That's true as well.
good.
And hear his loving voice guiding your footsteps into quiet ways where you will walk in true defenselessness. For you will know that heaven goes with you. You will know it. You will feel it. Nor would you keep your mind away from him a moment, even though your time is spent in offering salvation to the world. Think you he will not make this possible? For you who choose to carry out his plan for the salvation of the world and yours, of
Mm.
course he will make this possible. Today our theme is our defenselessness. What a burden we will lay down. We clothe ourselves in it, in defenselessness, as we prepare to meet the day. We rise up strong in Christ and let our weakness disappear as we remember that his strength abides in us. We will remind ourselves that he remains beside us throughout the day or through the day and never leaves our weakness unsupported by his strength. We call upon his strength each time we feel the threat of our defenses undermine our certainty of purpose. In other words, every time we're tempted by the ego, we will pause a moment as he tells us this: I am here. Your practicing will now begin to take the earnestness of love to help you keep your mind from wandering from its intent. Be not afraid nor timid. That's false humility, right? There can be no doubt that you will reach your final goal. I'm listening.
Yep.
Are you?
Yes.
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 These are his gifts to you.
Well,
Defenselessness.
can you back up? Did you have that sentence? The ministers of God can never fail.
No. No, how could that be omitted?
Wow.
Are you joking?
No, it says there.
Okay, could you read the sentence before and
Yeah.
the sentence after, please?
There can be no doubt that you will reach your final goal. The ministers of God can never fail because the love and strength and peace that shine from them to all their brothers come from him.
Okay, I got it, sis.
Okay.
It's my bad. Please forgive me. That
Okay.
sentence was here, but
Okay.
the ego didn't see it.
Well, good thing I'm here.
Thank God. One of us is without an ego, you know?
Yeah, that
Okay.
is so huge. I can feel that whole sentence. Oh my God.
Oh, I want to read it again. The
Go.
ministers of God can never fail because the love and strength and peace that shine from them to all their brothers come from him. Wow. These are his gifts to you. Defenselessness is all you need to give him in return. You lay aside but what was never real, to look on Christ and see his sinlessness.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm getting that sense, a felt state that when we're in a total state of surrender, no mythical me, in deep humility, accept what we are and allow what we are to come through. The God impulse that comes through us out of our expression to our brothers is literally God. Like you just said, you'll feel that the power of God or the kingdom of heaven is within you and goes with you,
Yes.
right? Throughout your day. It's a felt state. And that is, you know, you're invulnerable. You feel God with you. You feel that your thoughts are inspired and from God, that you're willing with God, so that throughout your day you're doing his will. It's like all there is to you is God. That is what you are in your state of defenselessness. Defenses shunt that experience off. Defenses say, I'm mythical me, don't want to hear you, don't want to feel you, don't want to hear about your will. I'm busy being Coreen. So, in our defenselessness, our safety lies. That's when we know we're one with God, we're walking with God, and nothing can touch you because you're in the world, but not of it. You're completely under God's laws. Yep.
We're on a mission from God.
We're the Blue Sisters.
Yes. Yay. Yay. Come on, get up and dance. Let's boogie, sis.
Oh my gosh. I loved that movie.
Me too. Me too.
A
One of
mission
my
from
all-time
God.
favorites. That comes.
We have to get thin ties and suits and Blues Brothers hats, sis.
We will for
How?
our midway session.
Okay.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, how fun is that?
Oh, fantastic.
So, we love you guys. Thank you. Thanks, sis. You just unpacked that so beautifully. Thank you. Thank
we
you.
did too. We did together.
Yeah.
We love you.
Because of you. And you and you and you
You,
and you.
you're on a mission from God.
Don't. We'll see you next time.
Okay, bye.